Hi, Powder Mill families.
So I'm Emma Rood, the assistant principal at Powder Mill.
Erin Carrier, principal here at Powder Mill. So we thought we would try to make a video to help you if your child has an iPhone. So I am the mother of two. I have a 20-year-old and a 16-year-old.
And I'm also the mother of two. I have a 21-year-old and an almost 19-year-old.
Yeah. And, our kids had phones from the time they were small, and as working professionals, they needed them. They were traveling to and from school, and we were often at work, and they were arriving home. So it was important for them to have phones. But we know that with phones comes social media, and at times our children may have needed some limits. Yeah.
There might have been some groundings here or there.
Yeah, a couple. And so we have, especially Emma, she's really good at this. She did a lot of research on YouTube and on just the internet and figured out how to work her child's phone and all the settings. There are a lot of settings in iPhones that people don't know about. So we are not professionals. We do not work for Apple. So we don't know everything by any means. But as two moms, we thought we could share knowledge. So I went to Emma a while back when I was struggling with phone stuff and social media. She gave me a lot of hints, and then we thought, let's share this with our families who may be going through this. So this is our attempt to help you out, and we hope you find it educational.
Yeah, even if it's, just setting limits, so that you don't have to lock up the phone at night, just setting limits so that they have a appropriate bedtime
at
night
off.
And in the morning so that you have one less thing to worry about. It's helpful for parents, and a lot of safety features that I think are helpful that you might not even know exist. At least I didn't until I started doing some research.
I didn't know until I started worrying about things. And at lunch one day, you were like, oh, I can turn that off. And I went, you can? You can turn that off? And then it was, whoa, there's a whole world out there. So here we go. We'll hope you enjoy our video.
Okay, the first thing you're going to do is click Settings. And when you click Settings, it's going to open up your main screen for settings. And then I'm going to click Family. And when I click Family, it brings me to Everyone. I'm going to click my daughter, Sydney. And even though she's an adult, we're going to do this today. So we click her name, and it brings us to her particular settings. I'm going to then click Screen Time. And when I click Screen Time, it's going to open another screen. And that screen, after I click on Screen Time, brings me to other features. So we have downtime, app limits, always allowed. We'll get to those another day. But the first thing you're going to want to do is go to content and privacy restrictions. This is where you can make sure that they can't change certain things like the passcode, so that if you want to check their phone, they can't change the passcode. So you have to enter a passcode. I would not tell this to your students. So you enter a passcode and it goes. That allows you to make any changes that you want to make. So I have for my daughter, her passcode changes do not allow. I have her account changes. Currently I have her allow, but I could go in there and have her not be able to change those. And the same is true for cellular data services. So I'm going to show you how you can do that when you click on them. So I'm going to click on passcode changes, don't allow. You could allow it if you want, I would not. Then you can go back and you can change the other things. You can change account changes. So this is so that they can't do things like change the Apple ID or things like that. Don't allow that. Because my daughter is an adult, obviously I do let her do that. And the same is true for cell data. You don't want them to change that because you don't want them running up any types of bills or anything on your phone. So I would not allow that as well. And after you do that, that's the big part of content and privacy. And when you get out of that, the next thing we're going to be going to is going to be communication safety. So I'm going to go back out of this. Oh, you can also do, you could do iTunes things, app things. So if you want iTunes, you don't want them to be able to have purchases, you can do that. You can require a passcode. I don't require a passcode for iTunes because I don't want her to have my passcode. Different apps that you have, so you can turn apps on and off. So I allow all these apps. If I didn't want her to have access to the wallet, let's say, you could toggle that so that it was off. I know a lot of parents like the wallet because they don't have to give their kids cash, so they actually can use that Apple Wallet different places. But I could shut it off so she can't use it, and I just toggle it. And then I'm going to go back. And the final one that you could do is content restrictions. And content restrictions has other things like if you don't want them to listen to explicit music, I could click music podcasts. And when I click that, it's going to ask you if you want it explicit or clean. So right now she's an adult. I let her have explicit. If I wanted it clean, I would just click that, and then she would only be allowed to listen to things that were clean. So for your students, that's probably the best bet. And you can do the same thing for all of the different apps on here. And so again, we're going to go, our next one is going to be on communication safety. Okay, so when we get back to the student screen, you can also go to screen time. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to communication safety. Communication safety is imperative. It's for basically to check for content, make sure that they are not sending or viewing nude pictures. So even though my daughter is an adult, I still have that on. I guess maybe I'm a protective parent, but I feel like it just gives a warning. It provides guidance, and it, as it says, it provides guidance and age-appropriate resources to help them make a safe choice. So I think that's a really important thing for parents to do. Another thing that you can do on here that is important is have communication limits. So this is when my daughter would get grounded, this is where I would go so that if I wanted her to only be able to put certain people in her contacts that she was allowed to talk to, I would change it to contacts only, and I might actually put certain people. So during downtime, only specific contacts, and I could choose, and from that, I could put certain people in there. The other thing that is important for this, I think, is sometimes managing contacts. So knowing who they are putting into their phone. If you want them to add people or not add people, you can turn this on, and you can decide who they add and who they don't add. And that's the same with this. Allow contact editing. I allow her to do it. If you don't want them to, you can turn that off. I have hers on. And so those are the communication parts that you can do. Okay, so now we're going to go to regular downtime. And downtime allows you to do a lot of things. This every time you do it, you have to put in your passcode. So downtime, you can say turn on downtime until tomorrow, so that you can just do at any time. Let's say that they're being mouthy, you can just shut off their phone, turn off downtime, and keep it there for a while. So the other thing you can do is scheduled, which I think is really helpful, because this is what I would do for my daughter. I would, from every weekday from 10 until 5, 10 p.m. till 5 a.m., I had her phone off. So she wasn't allowed to make contact with anyone, wasn't allowed to use, certain apps. And on Friday and Saturday nights, I turned it off. So you can see that you can customize those. If I click on Sunday, if I wanted her to have a later time, I could say 11. And that's, now that one is a little bit different. And then down the bottom of the screen, you have to actually click block it downtime. So that way it will block the content. And what that will do is, I'm going to shut these off for her. What that will do is it will decide what kinds of things I can have. So then we're going to get into app limits, which is the next part. Okay, so when you click see all app and website activities, it will bring you to this screen and it shows you how long they've been on things and where they have been. So if you click on any of these, if I go to, you can see she's been on Snapchat a lot. I can go here, I can add a limit. So if I think my kid has been using Snapchat too much, I can click add a limit. Again, it's going to ask me for my passcode, and I can decide how long I want her to be on there. So maybe it is 11 minutes. Maybe it's an hour every day. So I can customize this. I can also customize the days. So if I want the weekend to be a little longer, I can schedule that so that it's a little bit longer. So they might have 2 hours on Saturday and Sunday, and then I can go back and that will be, I can add that to my list. So that's one way to see what your children are doing and also to add some limits. The other thing that we can do to add limits is to actually go to app limits, which is what I'm going to show you right now. So when you go to app limits, I can add a limit here. Again, put in your password. And now it gives me all different kinds of categories. So you could take every single app and shut them off at a certain time. That's not something that I generally did. I would always leave educational things on. So for instance, I want her to be able to access these, but if I don't want her to have any access to social media, any games, maybe I don't want shopping, travel, things that she doesn't necessarily need at all times of the day. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to only allow maybe an hour for each of those things, and then I can block it at the end of the limit. But there might be certain things that you, so now I had to click add. So I can add I can go through and customize others. So maybe I want creativity is going to be, she can't have these things, but she can have her paint. So I can click certain ones from there, and I only want her to have those for maybe 19 minutes. So you can do anything you want on here. You can customize whatever you want. That is app limits, and the next thing we're going to do are apps allowed. So apps allowed, as it says, these are things that are always allowed. So allowed contacts, right now she can contact anyone, but when there were times when I didn't want her to contact anyone, only our family, I would click this and I would put in only certain people. So I'd say specific contacts and I'd choose from my contacts. So it might be myself, my husband, my sisters, my mother. And so I would click choose from my contacts and it would bring up all of those, everybody in my list, and I can click on them. So those are the people she could always talk to no matter what. The other thing that I can do is allow certain apps. So I always would allow the phone so that she could call those people in her contacts. I would usually allow messages, but I might not want her to have access to other things. So I'm going to take out, she can't have Disney Plus. I'm going to remove that. I don't want her to have Instagram. I'm going to remove that. So there are certain things that I'm going to remove from the always allowed. And then there are things at the bottom that I can add to the always allowed. So these are things that you can customize on your own to see what you want your student to have access to. So the last thing we're going to do, and we've switched over to Mrs. Carrier's phone because my daughter, since she's an adult, I don't have the access to do this anymore. But because Bridget is younger, I can click on Bridget, and you're going to want to prevent them from changing their location options. So you're going to click location sharing, and sharing with you want to toggle this so that it blocks them from making any changes. This way they cannot shut off their location and you can always find where they are, or at least where their phone is. We hope you liked that. It was a lot of me talking,
Yeah, but you know what you're talking about. So that was really good. So we hope you were able to learn some things from it. And, you know, we're in this together. Our children, ours, all of us. We are invested in your kids, and we want to support you as you support us. Like, that's the only way we can do
Parenting is
this.
hard.
Oh my God, parenting is tough stuff.
Principling is hard.
Principling is hard. And if the more we can all be a team and the more we
Yeah.
can support each other and just share knowledge, share our little hacks that we got going on so that we can support these kids, because they're in a world that none of us were in.
Yeah.
They have to navigate things that none of us did when we were growing up. And I really feel for them quite often. And so the more we can work together and figure these things out and then share that information.
Takes a village.
It takes a village. It takes a village.
But if you liked this, if this was helpful, we would appreciate feedback. We're considering doing something for social media apps so that, you know, we had the presentation up at the high school where they were teaching us some things even. So we are willing to put together another video or two to help you out. So just let us know.
All right. Thank you. Have a good day.